we back at it for another video. A very interesting topic. The coin that they phrased for all the conspiracy theorists, the ultimate conspiracy theory. The first one that I remember, in fact, the JFK conspiracy theory. Now with this one, let's get straight into it. The alleged killer, Lee Harvey Oswald. We're gonna get into this little film right here.
Else's body to frame him. The next day, Oswald was shot to death while in police custody, sparking rumors that the US government was covering up the real story of the assassination and who else might be involved. And this photo, which has been scrutinized, deconstructed, and reconstructed ever since, is at the heart of it. After Kennedy's assassination, government investigators spent 10 months compiling evidence and concluded that Oswald alone killed the president, an explanation the public has doubted ever since. Conspiracy theorists argue that a powerful entity like the KGB, CIA, Mafia, or Kennedy's successor to the presidency had to be involved in such a high-profile murder. And if these photos are fake, it suggests a far-reaching conspiracy framed Oswald for a crime he said he didn't commit, or it was his own. This is the most notorious of the backyard photos. It appeared on the cover of Life magazine in February 1964 and circulated in global newspapers. People were quick to notice something odd. The rifle on the cover of Life had a telescopic sight.
This is where we break it down to see. And I'm gonna get in more in depth with this. Right?
And in other news outlets, the scope was gone. The news outlets explained they retouched the photo before printing and inadvertently altered the appearance of the rifle. But the controversy convinced people around the world the photo was fake.
And of course, if it was fake, now who faked it and why did they fake it? And it opens up this whole can of worms.
This guy knows a lot about photo fakes.
My name is Hani Farid. I'm a professor here at the University of California, Berkeley, and I specialize in digital imaging forensics. I work on criminal cases, on civil cases, where the authenticity of an image or a video has been called into question.
Farid is also the latest in a long line of experts that have used science to try to figure out if the photo of Lee Harvey Oswald is real.
Oh, that's amazing. You have the original.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So what is the problem with this photo?
Okay, first of all, I assume I can keep this. There were 4 things that people consistently point to in the photo as purported evidence of manipulation. First and foremost is people have argued that the lighting and the shadows in the photo are physically impossible. In particular, if you look on the ground, there is this long shadow to his right, but if you look on his face, the shadow from his nose seems to be coming directly down. So people were saying, oh, his head was spliced into a photo of somebody else holding the gun and the lighting was wrong. That was number 1. Number 2 is that if you look at Oswald in the photo, he has this pretty bulky chin. It's quite broad. But if you look at his mugshots and other photos of him, he seems to have this very tapered chin. So that added to the evidence, if you want to call it that this isn't really his face, that the chin seems to be too broad.
The contradiction.
Let's pause this. They had Photoshop back in the 1960s, bro. That let you know that they've been doing this. They've been holding this technology and all of this stuff laughing in our faces for years with the alien technology, because remember, they were confiscating UFO technology from Roswell, all of those different places, you know, because of accounts of people saying that they seen hovercrafts falling and whatnot, and individuals, you know, calling in to stations and all type of places. And then next thing you know, they want the people to like recant or like basically just negate what they had said type stuff, you know? It's crazy.
Shadows and the broad chin are the most commonly cited signs of alleged tampering. This theory even made its way into this scene in Oliver Stone's 1991 film JFK, starring Gary Oldman as Oswald.
Well, I never saw this picture. That is my face, but my face has been superimposed.
Look at the way the shadows on the nose fall in a straight line like it's high noon.
You see how they even get in depth to it more in the movies, bro. So I gotta watch this movie again. It's crazy. I'm about to go ahead and get to these photos that I got.
But the shadow down here on the ground looks more like late afternoon or early morning.
Number 3 is that in the photo, the gun seems to be shorter than the actual gun that was used to kill the president. And then number 4 was that his posture seems odd. It seems like he's sort of leaning back and he should be unstable holding that gun like that. And so when you look at the photo, yeah, at first glance, something looks a little weird there. And so that's what has been around this photo for a long time.
In the 1960s and 1970s, forensic experts tried just about everything to test the authenticity of this photo. Examined it at various exposures to check for signs of tampering, didn't find any. Photographed the rifle that killed Kennedy at various distances and angles to compare it to the weapon in the backyard photo, the dimensions matched. Side-by-side analysis with Oswald's mugshot confirmed it was him. They also took photos with Oswald's seized camera to check if the unique artifacts specific to the negatives produced by that camera, in this case, these 11 scratch marks, would appear across other photos. They did, meaning the backyard photos were taken with Oswald's camera. Investigators even recreated the photo numerous times to see if the shadow angles were possible in a single image, most successfully in this one, taken exactly 4 years after the original at the same hour in Oswald's former backyard. The shadows matched up, straight down on the face and at an angle for the body. They concluded again and again that the backyard photos were taken with Oswald's camera and there were no signs of fakery. But even presented with the facts, the controversy surrounding the photo persisted.
And I think that is baked into conspiracies. Anything that is inconsistent with your core belief is simply evidence that that person is part of the conspiracy to keep information from you.
Check out this mail-order videotape, Fake.
So pause. That could only mean one thing. That he had a mask on his face. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep it moving.
Made by famous conspiracy theorist and amateur photographer Jack D. White, who was obsessed with debunking the authenticity of this photo.
Let me show you the results of my photo analysis and see if you too can detect the graphics blunders which prove that a powerful conspiracy resulted in the death of President Kennedy.
This guy was quoted in national media as an expert, and in a 1978 BBC television documentary, an actual forensics expert felt confident that
one can only conclude that Oswald's head has been stuck onto a chin.
the flaw in these approaches is that people tend to overestimate their ability to determine real-world physics from a single two-dimensional image.
And it turns out we're really, really bad at it when it comes to certain things, like shadows, like reflections and mirrored surfaces. But if you think about it, that shouldn't be surprising. This thing here, the visual system, didn't evolve over millions and millions of years to reason about a flat piece of paper.
So Fareed and his team reconstructed the scene using 3D modeling software to rule out the 4 problems of the photo.
The shadows, the shape of the chin, the length of the gun, and the posture.
All right, so let's get into something else. Because that was all real interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now let's get into these photos. Let's get into these photos. So this is another alleged form of Lee Harry Oswald. The mask of the individual that was the doorman, aka Billy Lovelady. Let's compare the eyes, the eyebrows. You see that mask right there? And even right here, it shows you there's a mask, comparing and putting his eyes onto this one. Because the guy that was in the doorway when the whole shooting took place looks exactly like Oswald, to the point where they even photoshopped this guy's hairline on a mugshot. You know what I'm saying? They did a lot of altering with this. So they had Photoshop back in the day. I don't know how they had that technology, but it's crazy. Let's look at this. So this is the same dude. He stood in that same spot in 1971, showing you that he has the same body build and all of that. Down the line, you know, he looks older, but he still has the same receded hairline and all that. Crazy. Even this. So Oswald, for one, was already like involved in stuff like that. He was like a special op. But you know, he was the fall guy as well, because he was already doing nothing. Let's look. Lee Harvey Oswald right there. Far away. Now JFK and them, they looking at him. Right there, that's crazy. So JFK is in the car, but the people in the joint that's driving, they looking back there. Same guy right here. Even for the person that was at the depository, a lot of people would say that that's George Bush's father, George Bush Sr. You know what I'm saying? We see the Masonic handshake right there. We see that. I think it very well was him at that time. This is in 1963 in the depository. The Texas School Book Depository, to be exact. And you got him in there. And on the street, they were saying that this could have been young George Bush. But then they said that this is Rafael Cruz. But what's another picture I have of that? We got young George Bush that was around there as well when he was like 17 years old. As you can see around the plaza, you know what I'm saying? So if his dad was involved there, he probably like in his college years or like something around that time. High school years, better yet. So he over there drinking, turning up and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Getting involved early, seeing this stuff early. So even with him, it's bloodlines of people that know this for years. And I do believe that this was him back in the day because it matches up. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Even for the grassy knoll individuals, a guy right there. Probably can't really see it like that, but there's a guy right there. Investigations of the origins of the shots fired at Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? The officer stands in the same spot where the Moorman photo shows a strange shape. Now we got these two individuals. The officer that was labeled as the badge man from the grassy knoll, comparing him to JFK. They have a lot of, similarities. Look a lot like, same smile. You know what I'm saying? Same type of, man, that just looked like him. I ain't gonna lie to you, like another role playing. That's crazy. But they pulled that off too. And even with that being said, this guy was alleged to have been shot by Lee Harvey Oswald, assassinated by him. They said around they gave like a specific time, like 30 minutes, something like that, 40 minutes or something like that after JFK was shot. And I gotta look at that time too to see what number president he was and see if they're not trying to play with those numbers as well. Because you know how they like to try to do it. They put the riddles in numbers. So even with him, hands behind his back, the hidden hands. You know what I'm saying? But the guy that kind of looked like a Oswald type of individual, but I don't think that's Oswald right there. This is a JFK figure. They had just proven that this photo was fake though. They said that was real, but they made it really believable. But you've seen the chins and stuff like that. Even this right here, the assassination plot from him. He got shot. And even Umbrella Man, I thought that was probably Oswald or something like that. Cause man, they had a lot of people on the scene at this particular time. Now this looks like the guy that was there for JFK. No, not JFK, but not even JFK, but MLK. So you meaning to tell me that dude was here present? He could have possibly been the Umbrella Man. So they got the links of certain things, man. It's crazy. Even with this dude right here that's holding his hat right there, they said this is the same guy that was to have shot Oswald right there. So it's connections and stuff like that. Even that, like, why all these people just looking like that and this man just being carried but not in no handcuffs and like that. You see, it's just really crazy how they did stuff back in the day. Even with this, the whole head structure, like how his dome piece was blown off, but they kind of sewed it back together and then made the main point that shot that was through the neck, I should say, as the main entry point. You know what I'm saying? And this disregarded the whole fact that his whole head was blown off. So he was shot at like multiple times, but his whole dome piece was blown off. You know what I'm saying? And even this, the lady with the shades, they had a lot of weird looking individuals out here. You know what I'm saying? Who's that in the car? It's a lot of like stuff that we gotta look back at, Connections, even this, man. The photos look altered, as we just seen in the little mini jump. But that was very interesting. Even this, the assassination, comparing photos together, how they altered the back of their head. You see how this hair texture is? How they made his hair all wet. That's a different hair texture at the top of his head, because his hair was not like that. We see that right here. His hair was not like that. That's different hair on the top. His hair was blown off, and then they put something on there. And even with that being said, the officer, badge man, him and JFK had the same wounds when they was assassinated. What is the coincidence of that? Same shot in the neck, same dome piece blown off, all of that. So how the hell did Oswald kill him that way and then kill the badge man the same way? How is that possible? Crazy, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this, man. The Masonic connections, things go way back. See, look at this. 1964. Love lady photoshopped with a hairline, FBI. They looking like Oswald right there. Look at the dude in the doorway. That's Oswald right there. You know what I'm saying? And this is from the opposite viewpoint from where they were. And by they, I mean JFK in the limo and all stuff like that. So you mean JFK had a doppelganger and Oswald had a doppelganger? Bro, they've been doing this way back. Mass agendas, man. Hollywood lies. Hollyweird lies. Look at the dude right here. Looking just like the dude in the doorway. Now, as we can see, if the photo matches up and everything that they were saying, then it only can mean one thing, mess. Now we can see this is a mess. That's crazy, bro. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Whew.